After being reborn, I decided to be a devoted younger sister, no longer clinging to Reborn, no longer shamelessly following him. Everyone says I have become normal, no longer daydreaming about my stepbrother, only my cold and indifferent good brother. One day pressed me into a gloomy corner of the corridor, kissing lightly and teasingly at the corner of my lips. "Don't you like me anymore? I raised him since he was a child. What's wrong with a kiss?" My memory stopped at that afternoon when I was arguing with Reborn. I had been nagging him for a long time, and he finally agreed to stay with me for New Year's, but on the day he had to work overtime again. I know, he wasn't going to work overtime, he just hates me. I ruined my brother's whole life. So that day I left home very early. I pouted and didn't go to see him, and didn't give him the New Year's gift. I went to a bar with a friend I had just met to get drunk. But that night I was taken into an alley behind the bar and abused. The moment I exhaled, the New Year's bell rang. I think, probably my death is the best New Year gift for my brother. When I opened my eyes again, it was still the noisy atmosphere of the bar, but there was no hand choking my neck, and no lingering smoke. I opened my eyes wide and saw clearly the girl across from me wearing the uniform of our small town's No. 1 high school. The youthful face in front of me overlaps with the image of my deskmate from over a decade ago. The girl draped her arm over my shoulder and smiled at me exuberantly. "Jade Doohan, happy graduation from senior year. I hope we can all get into our ideal schools." That year, I hadn't yet told my brother that I was the neurotic sister who coveted him. I didn't cling to him and drag him into an endless abyss. As I walked out of the bar, I tightened my grip on the paper bag that was a bit damp with sweat in my pocket. This was the maximum dose of sleeping pills I could get at that time. That was also today from my previous life. I knocked my brother out, then I took off my clothes, sprinkled the red pigment I had prepared on his bedsheet, and lay in his arms. The next day, I woke up with red eyes and a tear-streaked face, looking at him. My brother is self-disciplined and adheres to propriety, with a clear mind and few desires. He is the epitome of a model student. On that day, I thought I had ruined my sister. I told my brother that I have a mental cleanliness obsession and cannot accept anyone other than him. He has to take responsibility for me. My brother has spoiled me since childhood, and he feels so guilty about my past that he has given in to me. This is the thing I regret the most from my youth, because later my brother found out the truth, and he hated me so much that he almost cut off our relationship. But there's nothing I can do. I am his sister. He said when he was young that he would protect me for a lifetime. He is such a silly person, and when he says a lifetime, he means a lifetime. Before entering the house, I threw that bag of sleeping pills into the trash can. The heavens have given me a chance to start over. So in this life, I have decided not to cling to my brother anymore. His future was originally bright and should not have been dragged into the swamp by me. When I walked into the house, the light in the entrance was still on. Actually, it doesn't matter because my brother always leaves a light on for me to come home. But this time, I was startled by the shadowy figure on the sofa. A person who always goes to bed before 10:30 without fail was actually sitting upright on the sofa this time, staring at me. I was a bit startled by the look in his eyes. My brother's gaze towards me can be divided into two kinds. Before discovering the truth, it is filled with helplessness, tolerance, or guilt. After discovering the truth, it turns into disgust, alienation, and indifference. Yet he has never looked at me so deeply as he did today. I can't quite describe what kind of gaze that was. The emotions there were too intense, both good and bad, obscure and unclear. It was as if he could never get enough of me, wanting to engrave me deeply into his mind. I called out to him, and only then did he finally lower his beautiful eyes, softly speaking out, "You're back." I always feel that the phrase "you're back" contains some different emotions. In short, it's not quite the same as the way he used to be. But now I have decided not to bother him anymore and prepare to stay away from his life. So I pulled my lips and asked him in a slightly cheerful tone, "Bro, I'm also an adult now, and I'm about to go to college. Can I stay with my friends during the summer? I won't stay with you anymore." It's also a way to get used to dorm life early. My brother definitely found out that I want to stay away from him. His face is so dark, it looks like he wants to eat me. But I'm doing this for his own good. My muddy self won't pollute his white flower. As I escaped to the bathroom, I kept brainwashing myself. Even now, after being reborn, I still hopelessly like my brother. I was abducted when I was a child. and my brother was adopted by my parents. I was found when I was 7. And my parents were very busy with work, so he always took care of me. Later, my parents sacrificed themselves, and I was left with only my brother. When I was 13, I realized that every cell in my body was screaming that I liked him, and my feelings were the root of the tragedy between us. So, I came to the glass window with my wet hair. In this life, it's enough to just be his ordinary little sister, not getting close, not disturbing, quietly watching him live a happy and joyful life. He walks his own path, and I walk my own narrow bridge. The next day, my brother looked at the volunteer list I had prepared in silence, 3 in Qinghai, 4 in Xinjiang, and 2 in Tibet. How about you, Jade Duan? If the moon could be applied for, would you really apply to go to the moon? If the moon could be applied for, I really would want to go there, at least far away from him. But I hadn't even finished speaking when I touched my brother's dark gaze. He is really angry. So I swallowed and kept my mouth shut. Jade Duan, since you don't want to fill it out properly, I'll fill it out for you. He crumpled up my form and threw it in the trash can, then took out a new application form. I stared at my brother's bony fingers in a daze, wondering how his handwriting could be so beautiful. It was only after he finished filling it out that I noticed, within the range of grades I could control, the schools he applied to were mostly in the city or close to it. In my past life, I liked him. So of course I filled out all 10 choices for schools in my province, but I clearly remember asking for his advice before filling it out, and he encouraged me to apply to more out-of-province schools to see the outside world. When did my brother become so clingy with me? I stuffed the application form back into my backpack, hesitating. This is a lifelong matter. I think I should consider it slowly first. Bro, I'm going out with 1111. I'm leaving now. The man who had been staring at me without a word finally looked up, and after a long silence, spoke very few words. 10:30. What? I blinked my eyes. Access control. What? You say your brother not only won't let you apply to schools outside the area, but also imposed access control on you. In the milk tea shop, my good friend exclaimed. 1111 is considered my buddy. My best companion in middle and high school. I can't hide things. Several close friends know about my feelings for my brother. In my previous life, she always told me not to covet my brother, and even scolded me in disappointment after knowing I used despicable methods to get my brother. She said, I used my brother's guilt to make him do things he didn't want to do, and eventually the consequences would fall upon myself. From my previous life's experience, she was right. My brother never set a password for me before, and now he comes home more often than before. I rubbed my head in distress. Why do you think he has become like this? 1111 took a sip of milk tea and pondered for a moment. I think, perhaps it's because they still see you as a child. You need to let him know that you are an adult now, and you need to have some distance from him. He can't just control you anymore. She suddenly clapped her hands and then, as if realizing something, grabbed my shoulder. Right, how about this? Jade, why don't you get a boyfriend? I was taken aback for a moment. Boyfriend. To me, it really is a strange word. I also didn't know if Reed Duan could be considered my boyfriend in my past life, because later, under his sense of guilt, I did things I could and couldn't do with him, but he never really acknowledged me as his girlfriend. He never used affectionate terms like baby, wife, or dear towards me. I never thought my life partner would be anyone other than him, but Shishi's words suddenly opened up new possibilities for me. What if I could still fall in love with someone else? What if I have other fated partners? If I fall for someone else? Wouldn't that fundamentally solve the problem between my brother and me? At that moment, Zixela grabbed my sleeve. Jade, do you remember Liu Qingyuan from class 3? Her academic performance is excellent, and she is very refined. She has asked me about you more than once before. Why don't you two give it a try? So, just like that, I hit it off with 1111. In the following days, I added that guy named Liu Qingyuan on WeChat. We chatted casually and gradually discovered that we had similar tastes in games and anime. Then we slowly tried to hang out for a few days. He is the kind of typical boy next door, polite in his interactions, and although he doesn't talk much, he takes everything seriously. As we continued to date, I realized that I had somewhat turned him into a buddy, especially in the game when he was surrounded by monsters, and I swooped down to save his life with one move. It felt particularly like a good brother who understands each other. That day, I came back a bit late after playing games with him. And I missed the curfew set by Reed Doohan. I thought my brother would stick to that bad habit of going to sleep after 10:30, but unexpectedly, under the dim light, I saw that figure on the sofa. My brother just stared at me quietly, not knowing what he was looking at. Actually, he didn't seem that angry. It was as if his gaze was glued to me. "Where have you been?" His voice was a bit thick and hoarse, sounding like he had been drinking. "I was out with friends and lost track of time, bro." I obediently answered. His eye color was obscure in the dimness. "Which friend?" "Cece." I don't know why. The boy's name was almost bursting out of my throat. But I still temporarily changed it to Cece. My brother silently looked at me, nodded after a while, and went to the bathroom with his coat. After a while, the sound of water could be heard from the bathroom, so I finally confirmed that my brother was waiting for me to come back, calculating the time. He should be at the stage of just entering society, having graduated from a top law school and started working at an excellent law firm. My older brother was originally on a bright and promising career path, but in his previous life, he was exposed as having an affair with his own sister at the most critical moment of his career. Then he became the laughingstock of everyone, a topic of conversation over tea and meals, branded as an incestuous relationship. So in these days, I have been avoiding my older brother a bit. This is called desensitization therapy. I will definitely get further and further away from my older brother. And my older brother will have to get used to me not being around. Actually, I have to adapt as well. I'm afraid that if I really leave, I'll go crazy thinking about my brother. The next evening, I made plans with Liu Qingyuan to watch a newly released anime movie. Just as I was leaving, my brother happened to come back. His tie wasn't loosened, but the moment he saw me about to leave, his face darkened. "Where are you going?" "I have plans to watch a movie with a friend." I answered half-truthfully. "Do you remember what day it is today?" I feel like he is trying hard to suppress something, but I still have to pretend I don't know. "Your birthday, brother. In the past, we spent each of our birthdays together, but today, I suddenly have an appointment, you know." He lifted his lips and chuckled lightly, with an ambiguous meaning, staring at me from the entrance. I swallowed hard and still had to finish what I wanted to say. "I know, brother. But we all have to settle down in the future, right? Well, we can't spend our whole lives together, right? You have your freedom, and I have mine, so why not just start from now?" I hadn't finished speaking when my brother suddenly laughed for no reason. He looks really good when he laughs, and it made me break out in a cold sweat. I thought he would do something else, but in the end, he just stood aside and let me pass. "Go ahead." I don't know why, even though he agreed. As soon as I stepped out of that big door, every cell in my body was resisting. It felt as if I really did that, my brother would do something terrible, but I still braced myself and crossed the threshold, leaving my brother, whose expression I couldn't see, behind. This movie is a fantasy animated film that focuses on love, but I watched it absent-mindedly, my mind filled with thoughts of my brother. This was the first time I hadn't spent his birthday with him. And saying I didn't care would be a lie, but I also know that I can't cling to my brother anymore. I spent the whole movie in a haze of random thoughts, and I didn't even understand the ending of the story. Liu Qingyuan noticed I was distracted and asked me what was wrong. I shook my head, and he suggested we get some midnight snacks. I followed him aimlessly. I really still care about my older brother. After I leave, where will my brother go? Does he have cake to eat? Will he stay home alone? Is what I'm doing a bit cruel? The street is filled with bright lights and lively sounds, with occasional shouts echoing through. My phone rang twice, and I nervously opened it. I didn't expect it to really be my brother. "Is the movie good?" A very ordinary greeting. But at this time and place, the person asking it was a bit unusual. I could only send a silly meme, then reply, "Good." "Who did you watch it with?" She. These two words were sent, and by the time I realized, it was too late. Separated by a street, my older brother in a white shirt and tie was looking at me from afar. Behind him is a barbecue stall, and there are quite a few white-collar workers like him sitting around, enjoying skewers, chatting, and drinking. My brother, the workaholic, actually went out for socializing on his birthday night. As the evening breeze blew, I clearly saw a mocking smile on my brother's lips. Just by looking at his mouth shape, I could understand those few words. 11:11, friend, on my brother's birthday. I stood him up. Not only did I stand him up, but I also went out on a date with a young boy. On a cool night, the gentle breeze passed by. And my brother just stood there across the street, looking at me calmly, logically. I shouldn't be afraid, until at one moment, I suddenly realized what his gaze resembled. My brother rarely gets angry with me. In a past life, after he found out I had deceived him, I repeatedly provoked him and got him worked up. He went home and tied me to the bed, slowly unbuttoning his collar. Look at my eyes, just like this. I shivered and felt that the past was hard to look back on. I saw him. And the person behind him at the barbecue stall started calling him. A big wave-haired sister in high heels was about to rub against him. It was too far away to hear what they were saying. But I felt that sister's red lips were almost touching his ear. After a while, he lowered his eyes and typed on his phone. I received a text message. Go home and wait for me first. I always feel like I need to add the words settle the accounts at the end. I turned off my phone screen and looked across the street. Amidst the bustling traffic, that long-haired sister seemed a bit drunk, her steps swaying more gracefully, quickly sway over to him. Actually, I remember her. Because in the previous life, she was the one most often mentioned together with my brother. The two of them were partners. People who knew them all said they were a perfect match. But later when my brother and I were exposed, his career took a downturn, and she no longer worked with him. I think, if it weren't for me, my brother, who is so cold and upright, would be the perfect match for her, who is so vibrant and beautiful, if I have to choose a sister-in-law for this life. I think she wouldn't be bad. Thinking like that, I scrolled through the messages my brother sent me, then turned to look at Liu Qing's source, who was eating a bag of egg tarts greedily. Xiao Yuan, that esports competition, is it going to be held in Chengdu these days? He chewed his cheeks and then nodded in confusion. Let's go to Chengdu to watch the competition. So on my brother's birthday, the night he insisted I must come back, I ran away from home. My thought is like this. My brother is so controlling over me, possibly because he has been taking care of me since I was little. He is used to it, so I thought if I disappear for a few days, he can get used to life without me. By the way, maybe I can also help him get together with that big sister. When he is with that older sister, he will know her good qualities and might forget about me. Better to have a long pain than a short one. I should get used to the pain of him having a girlfriend sooner. When I arrived at the high-speed railway station at 1 a.m., I bought the ticket, and by that time, I hadn't gone home yet. My brother called me for the first time. I hung up the phone, and he kept calling me one after another. The continuous ringing was like a death sentence, and I could almost imagine the man's face turning black. Now, I don't even dare to answer the calls, so I casually sent him a text with just 2 words, "Don't think of me." Then I turned off my phone and boarded the high-speed train to Chengdu. Actually, I don't want to be that way either, but I also feel that maybe it's my change. These days, my brother has also been acting strangely, but I really can't stay by his side. I'm afraid that one day I won't be able to control myself and repeat the mistakes of the past life. My brother is really unfortunate. Am I going to hurt him for the rest of his life again? Once he is completely disappointed, he will probably leave me. He has never made me at ease. This time, let it be the last one. Chengdu is a rather diverse city. Because the competition is taking place these days, there are more foreigners around, and I and Liu Qingyuan have explored every street and alley. At 18, one always feels they have countless opportunities. Bold and unrestrained, I found a small tavern by the river, where we chatted from all corners of the world. That night, both of us had drunk a bit too much. I was crying with my face on the table, staring at that green beer bottle. I really like my older brother. What can I do? I don't like any part of me that isn't fond of him. What can I do? You see, why is it so hard to like someone else? Why can't I do it? What's wrong with me? Is there a doctor who can treat me? If I get treated, will I be better? Liu Qingyuan has his arm around my shoulder, helping me walk outside. He has also had a bit too much to drink. With red eyes, sigh. I understand you. Actually, I lied to 1111 to get your WeChat, just to talk to her a few more times. But she has a boyfriend. You know, I really, sigh. He patted his chest, leaned closer to me, his face red, full of alcohol breath. But it's also good that you don't like me. At least I have you as such a good buddy, fellow sufferers. We are both lost souls in this vast world. Why must we have known each other before we meet? When he got to the exciting part, I felt like his tears were about to smear onto my clothes. I was also unable to hold back my tears because of him. Just as I was about to cry out loud with him, as my eyes flashed, it seemed like a figure had rushed in. I blinked, blinked again, if I'm not mistaken, not far from us, that, breaking through the bustling crowd around, standing still there, staring at the man whose hand is resting on my shoulder, it seems to be my brother. In an instant, I felt my mind clear up significantly. I awkwardly moved Liu Qingyuan's hand off my shoulder and looked at my brother. In fact, he didn't look as neat as before, his clothes were a bit messy, and his bangs were tousled by sweat. It was as if they had just been running around, then suddenly stopped when they saw me, just staring at me. Their eyes were normal. No, that wasn't normal. That was the ultimate restraint of chaos. I ran away from home, and this time my brother is really angry. I am really angry, truly, truly angry, so angry that I can't be any angrier. But I never thought he would really cross 2 or 3 provinces to come after me. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, not having the time to care about the disheveled Liu Qingyuan, slowly moving towards my brother. Brother, I wanted to say something, but it got stuck in my throat. He didn't show any expression and calmly asked me, "Where's your phone?" Oh, I took the phone out of my pocket and then smiled awkwardly. Sorry, it's turned off. As soon as I opened my phone, it was flooded with messages. Then I looked and saw there were nearly 100 missed calls, all from my brother. This time, I know. I really got into trouble. He is also staring at me, not knowing what he is staring at, nor what he is thinking. Then he called my full name, and I shivered. Jade Duan. You are a girl, I can't hit you. Done. My brother is going crazy. My mind is in chaos, yet I really don't know what to argue when I open my mouth. This is indeed my fault. I didn't report it, ran away from home, and it was on his birthday, after having deceived him once. The only thing I could think of was to apologize, but the man standing in front of me said nothing. He saw me speechless and kept saying sorry for a long time, then spoke softly, "Let's talk about it when we get home." My heart skipped a beat. I've heard this sentence before. Back then, when I was in college, I didn't listen to him and went to another city with a friend. I almost got involved in a pyramid scheme, and he saved me. After that, he also said that, at that time, we had already broken up and laid our cards on the table, and our relationship had already gone through something. I thought, how could my brother punish me? So that night, when I got home, he didn't let me say anything, covered my mouth, and tortured me all night. On the way back, Reborn didn't say a word to me. His clothes were neatly arranged again, impeccable, polite and proper when going through security and handing over the boarding pass. It was as if nothing had happened. He just picked up his sister who had gone on a long trip, but that was a plane ticket. He wouldn't even wait for the high-speed train. During that time, I thought about mending our relationship. I bought a bottle of water from the vending machine and tried to be friendly by asking him, "Brother, do you want to have a drink?" He looked down at me, and that look made my legs weak. After just a couple of glances, I silently followed him home, during which I opened my phone and checked the messages I had missed over the past few days. There are messages from 11:11 for me. Judgia, why aren't you replying to messages? Your brother is asking where you went. Judgia, where are you? Judgia. You still need to go back to your brother. Your brother has been looking for you madly. I saw this text message just as I got home. The room was dark, my brother closed the door, and it clicked shut. I think I have also finished playing. Jade Duan, you disappeared for a whole 5 days. The entrance was shrouded in darkness, and I could hear his calm voice coming from above my head. I just sent your brother a message. Don't think about it. Haha. Don't worry. What does that mean? Don't want me to look after you anymore. Are you growing up? So eager to leave like this? I've been really bad to you, haven't I? He said, and kicked my knee with his. I was jolted by it. No, brother, I thought for a long time, but I really couldn't come up with any rebuttal. I closed my eyes and simply decided to let it go. Whether you die early or late, it's still death. Dying early means an early rebirth. Yes, brother, I just grew up and want to stay away from you, you know. Let's just go our separate ways, each going our own direction, far away from each other. You're already an adult, find a girlfriend. I'll also find a partner and bring her home for you to check out. I closed my eyes. Actually, I had already decided to never marry. They are all deceiving my brother. But there's nothing I can do. I want him to hate me and stay away from me, so his life won't be so bleak. I took a deep breath and slowly finished the sentence I had thought about for a long time. Word by word. I don't want you anymore, brother. The words were spoken. The person across from me was silent for a long time. a very long time. I kept grabbing and releasing the hem of my dress, thinking to myself, come on, brother, just give me a judgment, even if you scold me for being ungrateful, or drive me away, that's fine, please don't really say nothing at all, brother, I will be very scared, brother. The next moment, I was grabbed by the chin by the man. I waited a long time. And what I got was a lingering, familiar kiss. This kiss was too familiar. So familiar that I knew how he would take me, wrap his arms around my waist, press me against the door, and even the way he would use his knee to support my legs, all felt as natural as can be, and all of this happened before. After my brother and I had a relationship, he would do this to me. In the dimly lit room, I silently opened my eyes wide, a conjecture surfaced in my mind. Could it be that my brother also, brother? I vaguely called out, but he swallowed my words between his lips and teeth, determined not to let me speak. His fingers pinched my chin, and then I knew he was angry. This kind of anger is actually quite strange. I vaguely sensed that his emotions at this moment were very similar to how they were when we first met on the day I was reborn. Brother, you also, The suddenly intensified kiss caught me off guard. I was pushed against the shoe rack by the entrance. But the anticipated pain did not come. My brother still protectively held me just like in the last life. But his actions were not gentle. My brother is gentle with me in every way, even during sex, but he was different today. So, I always feel that my brother somewhat hates me. He can't do anything to me, so he vents his frustration this way. The restraint on my lips was lifted, and then his kiss slowly went down, licking my collarbone, every time my brother's hot breath touched me. It made me shiver. The night stretched out in a silent, tender way. I lost my voice because of his touch, yet I urgently wanted to ask him those questions. Brother, have you also been reborn? Brother, did I die in my last life? He suddenly stopped, motionless, leaving only our intertwined breaths in the dark night. I suddenly felt that I was truly doomed, still pretending in front of my brother. He is also the same as he was in the last life, and he knows exactly how despicable and vile I am. So I lowered my eyes and grabbed his sleeve. Brother, after I die, will you be okay? I know what answer I am hoping for. I want him to be sad even just a little, but perhaps he is completely indifferent. The night is particularly quiet. Yet in a moment I hear his ambiguous laughter. Guess, after saying that, he threw me on the sofa by the back of my neck. No, brother, The toys on the sofa were toppled over because of the two of us, and then I knew I couldn't speak. My brother knew how to make me sore, and how to torment me. And he was doing it now. I slightly lifted my head and saw a sliver of moonlight coming through the window. His hand around my waist skillfully brought my thoughts back to me. His haphazard kisses on my brow, I couldn't resist his sway. Maybe it was the alcohol. I wrapped my arms around his neck and called out to him. Brother, be gentle, okay? I was dragged by my waist, praying, but he only let out a mocking laugh. Then, it gets heavier. I knew it. He is still the same him from the last life, deliberately not letting his sister feel comfortable when doing such things. But I have no other desires. It's as if I have come to terms with it. He is still him. So what am I pretending for? Brother, you don't need to feel any psychological pressure. I looked up at the light outside the window, and for some reason, I still had the mood to discuss this matter. In my past life, it was my own fault. It was my own misfortune to meet the wrong people. A man covered my mouth. I couldn't speak. A close and intimate kiss fell on the corner of my lips, as if to comfort me. Actually, I understand my brother the most. He is a person who strictly adheres to rules and principles in everything he does, but I repeatedly broke his principles, and the fact that he didn't throw me out means he loves me. What kind of love this is doesn't matter. Anyway, he can't discard me. Without me, his life would probably be quite brilliant, but I dragged him into the mud, turning him into a bastard who mingles with his own sister. I always feel like I've been digging pits for my brother my whole life, and even in death. I won't let him go. The moonlight trickled into the bathroom, and I don't even know how I ended up in the bathroom with my brother. Anyway, I just feel so tired. It's enough to hold my brother's waist. We are both on a red-eye flight back home, but he still has the energy to mess with me. The shower sprays down gentle hot water, and my brother gently holds me in a sea of floating sensations, his nose brushing against my shoulder, after a long while. I can't even tell what the warm flow gathering on my skin is. After you die, I will take care of your affairs. the sound of water gathered, and his originally clear voice still became hoarse. Those people were addicted to drugs and were sentenced to death. I reported them. That's how, with just a few words. He summarized my fate. Not even a single word was left to say. It was lightly passed over, and once again drawn back into the sound of water. So that the feeling in my heart towards my brother, damn it, was stirring and climbing up my neck. I looked up and asked him, Reborn, what do we consider our relationship now, in the dark night? His smile was enchanting and seductive, and damn it, so good-looking. A kiss lingered on my neck, teasing my eyes. What do you think? If I were a sensible, rational sister with good values, at this moment, I should push my brother away, tell him that we are siblings, and remind him that based on our past experiences, continuing our relationship would definitely lead to no good outcomes. Unfortunately, I'm not. I tackled my brother, and the bathtub water spilled out because of our commotion, a secret lover relationship. Can't you call me baby? I really am. Drink today and worry tomorrow. If I get hit by a truck tomorrow, at least the brother right now is real. I hugged my brother's neck and kissed him. He responded without hesitation, his high nose rubbing against my ear. Baby, are you really this childish? Thus, the scene became uncontrollable once again. The rising heat mixed with gasps, the long night quietly diluted into a dream. How easily reason crumbled in that moment was enough for me. My brother's kiss was all it took. But I just kept shouting. My physical strength gave out, and I finally lost consciousness in his arms as he gave me my last bath. He used a soft towel to dry me, then carefully tucked me into a warm bed. At this point, my drunkenness seemed to finally set in. When he gently kissed my forehead and was about to turn off the night light, I vaguely grabbed his sleeve. Brother, I called him in a hoarse voice. I quietly asked him in the deep of night, the day I left, did you cry? It seems the night has been quiet for a long time. Only when the summer night cicadas chirped did he seem to wake up and tuck my blanket in. I cried very loudly. My brother said this sentence is completely a lie. I don't know him well yet. He must be holding back a lot. I took the longest nap I've had in days, and when I opened my eyes, I still felt lazy. With the dim yellow light of the setting sun shining on the head of the bed, my brother is on the balcony. I tilted my head and watched him take the washed quilt out of the basket, then carefully shake it out and hang it up amidst the brilliant sound of cicadas. After my parents passed away, my brother basically took on the task of raising me, so he is skilled in everything from laundry to cooking, truly a good husband and father. He walked in from the balcony, then saw me sitting on the bed, so he lowered his eyes and asked slowly, awake? As I looked at him shrouded in the soft glow of the evening sun, my nose suddenly felt a sharp sting. I don't know why, but that sense of shame in my heart suddenly magnified. So, when the tears hit the bedsheets, not only was my brother stunned, but I was also taken aback for a moment. What's wrong? His pace showed a barely noticeable panic as he walked in front of me and brushed away my tears with his thumb. Where do you feel uncomfortable? I shook my head. My vision was a blur of confusion. I just feel that I am such a jerk. Clearly, having lived a whole life again, I should keep my distance from you. If I stay away from you, nothing will happen. Why is it still so filthy? What should I do if I ruin your whole life? Jade Doohan, if we're talking about bastards, I'm quite a bastard too. His fingers gently rubbed my head, just like countless nights before, like his gentle coaxing when I was scared. Before my parents went on a mission that day, I promised them I would take good care of you. It seems that for more than 10 years, my brother and I have finally had a good talk about this matter. Look at me now. Where have I taken care of you? In my last life, I visited my parents' graves several times, and each time either the offerings were blown away or the paper money was blown out. Do you think if they have spirits in heaven, they would be furious? When you lied to me, it's not so much being angry at you as being angry at myself. From that time I should have already understood that if I were a sincere brother, I would have cut off relations with you the first time it happened. Why didn't I refuse your embrace and kiss? I realized from that time that my feelings for you have always been pretty disgusting, but I couldn't control myself, couldn't get out of it, so I kept running away. It seemed like I could run away forever, and you would always be by my side, and I wouldn't have to face the fact that I'm actually a beast. But you know, when he said that, he suddenly stopped. He rubbed my head and kissed my lips. I don't know if it counts as comforting me, Don't cry, brother is going to cook. I stared at his back, silently completing his words in my heart. But later, I died. On the New Year's Eve that I promised to spend with my brother, I left him forever. The cicadas of summer return grandly. The day to submit our final choices is also approaching. After so many years since graduation, I actually don't remember what I filled out back then. On the contrary, my brother, who only glanced at it, remembers it clearly. Finally, I discussed it with him. And didn't choose as extreme as I had previously filled in, but selected a few cities a bit further away, because my brother said, based on my past life's performance, I should be able to challenge those top universities. After filling out the application, I waited outside for 11:11. The sun had fully entered the scorching summer, and even the cicadas' chirping was long and drawn out. I didn't meet 11:11, but instead met someone else. Liu Qingsource was carrying a backpack on one shoulder and was now glaring at me with some dissatisfaction. I just remembered that I might have left this guy drunk on the streets of Chengdu before, hurriedly apologize. I'm really sorry. That day he waved his hand, indicating that the matter was already over, then secretly pulled me to a corner. Did you know, 11:11 broke up with her boyfriend? I said, that guy didn't come to me for revenge. His eyes clearly told me to help match him with 11:11. I looked at him with sympathy. It was quite coincidental that he and Cece were neighbors since childhood, but over the years, their relationship had never shown any signs of developing. What's that look for? Hurry up and help me. He clenched his back teeth, preparing to threaten me, when a cheerful voice inserted itself between us. What are the two of you whispering about? 11:11 approached Liu Qingyuan with his hands behind his back. And the kid immediately jumped back as if he had been electrocuted. The girl blinked her eyes, and there was a hint of disappointment in her gaze. I finally understand why this kid has been unable to develop a relationship with his goddess for so long. A new dessert shop has opened on Xinhe Road. Shall we go eat there together? I sighed and decided to help the boy hiding behind the stairs, preparing to disguise himself as a bush. The afterglow of the sunset scattered among the bustling crowd. And the evening breeze was not hot due to the river tide it carried. I chatted with 11:11 about gossip, and before long, the parfait in my hand was finished. That summer after graduating from high school was the most leisurely time in my life. After finishing the dessert, 11:11 shouted that she wanted to eat barbecue. Since everyone was free, we prepared to change venues and continue the battle. I took out my phone to send a message to my brother that I wouldn't be home for dinner tonight. I could feel 11:11's hand resting on my shoulder. Judgia, isn't that your brother? I looked up, and again through the overlapping traffic, the dull light of dusk stretched people's shadows long. I saw my brother with a suit jacket over his arm, walking with another woman in a business suit. It then occurred to me that this dessert shop might be quite close to my brother's law firm. People with above-average looks seemed to naturally attract attention. Not to mention that both of them had an exceptional aura, causing passers-by to turn their heads frequently. I finally understood why so many people said they were so compatible in their previous lives, so the message I was about to send was changed into another sentence. Bro, what are you doing? I was watching my brother pick up his phone and reply to me from the other side of the street. During that time, I thought countless times about his answer. It was probably on the way to work or home. And he definitely wouldn't mention that beautiful sister because he knew I would get jealous. It was like this in my past life. My brother was constantly annoyed by my jealousy. My phone vibrated, and when I looked down, I found that my brother had sent me a lot of messages. On the way home, there was a stretch of road that happened to be along the same route as my colleague, who is a woman named Lin Wu. You know, my brother doesn't follow the rules. I wasn't giving up. So I sent him a few more words. Bro, you're being so detailed, I'll get jealous. Then he stopped, lowered his head, and seriously typed for me. What are you jealous about? Actually, I really want to tell my brother that I've been a bit jealous of him and Lin Wu since our past life. Although I know that someone like my brother would definitely tell me clearly if he had someone he cared about, but I should still eat it, so much so that I somewhat ignored the slight misunderstanding in my brother's tone, until I saw that woman in a long dress, elegant and graceful, suddenly became lively when she saw a figure leaning against a motorcycle. Then a big hug flew over. The person leaning against the motorcycle with crossed arms is also a girl. It seems I made a mistake in my last life. Meanwhile, The man across the street finally noticed my presence. Even from a distance, I can see the mocking smile on my brother's face as he lowers his head to text me, Jade Dewan. What do you mean by that? Are you checking my position? Do you think I'm like you, going out with the opposite sex and deliberately hiding it from people? Are you just going to leave your brother behind and not care about anything, not even spending my birthday with me? I'm starting to think that 60 years from now, when I argue with my brother, he will bring up the fact that I didn't spend his birthday with him 60 years ago, although I really don't have much of a point. In the gap where I was having a conversation with my brother from a distance, someone suddenly shouted my name, so I saw a sister with long wavy hair on the opposite side of the road, brightly waving at me, at the barbecue stall. I don't know why it ended up like this, since everyone is going to have dinner anyway. Let's just have it together. My brother and I sat together, 1111 and Liu Qingyuan sat together, and Sister Da Bolang and Sister Short Hair sat together. There was a three-way meeting. Hey, you're really young. Did you just fill out your application today? May the older sister wish you all to be admitted to the schools you want, with a bright future. The long-haired sister was very outgoing, and she stood up to raise a glass with us. She also winked at me on the side. Jade, although we haven't met much, I know a lot about you. After all, your brother always. The words that followed were choked off by her under the murderous gaze of my brother. The atmosphere gradually became lively as more and more people joined in. This kid Liu Qingyuan was always good at cracking jokes, making the long-haired sister giggle, almost leaning onto the short-haired sister next to her. At this moment, the sister who had been silent would stretch out a finger to support her. Later we found out that the silent sister actually really couldn't speak. The two of them communicated using sign language. Lin Wu always rested her chin on her hand, looking at her with a smile in her eyes, occasionally making small gestures, probably to make her feel less self-conscious. The evening breeze swept through the room, and the barbecue restaurant gradually became lively due to the influx of people. This pleasant time suddenly made me feel an overwhelming sense of unreality. Suddenly, I drank a bit too much. In my previous life, when my brother was too busy with work to come home, I liked to secretly drink, as if drinking too much would make him come home and hug me. In a hazy vision, I saw that whenever she spoke, it would trigger the extremely socially anxious Liu Qingyuan, who finally, fueled by alcohol, pulled her into a corner to study something. The long-haired sister pinched the face of the quiet girl who wasn't saying anything, dissatisfied, and then loudly kissed her. I leaned closer to my brother. Perhaps it was the accumulated experience from drinking parties in this life and the last that made it hard for this man to get drunk. He looked at me with clear eyes. Brother, it seems I didn't see that short-haired girl next to Sister Lin Mu in my last life. I glanced and whispered in his ear, His clear knuckles fiddled with my cup, as if saying something with nonchalance. That girl later committed suicide. I widened my eyes slightly. No wonder Lin Wu didn't partner with my brother later. It wasn't because my brother had fallen from grace, but because she had died for love. Right, let's not let such things happen again. Okay, I clutched his sleeve, and due to the effects of alcohol, my tongue was still a bit tied. I actually quite like that sister. I don't want her to live such a miserable life. My brother deserved it to be very light. And then silently took my hand down that was gradually moving up to his thigh. I thought I could use being drunk as a shield to take advantage of him, so I acted a bit recklessly, but unexpectedly, he caught me by the hand. Then slowly, our fingers intertwined, under the clear lights and the joyful fireworks. I looked at my brother, who was seriously gazing at me. He is both rigid and annoyingly ceremonial. A promise made must be kept. Things from the last life will not happen again. Whether it's about her or about you, Jade Dewan, just like when my brother promised to protect me for a lifetime when I was 12, then, he never let go of my hand again. I really drank too much. In the end, I was swaying so much that I could barely walk and couldn't stand up. My brother just carried me on his back. After reluctantly saying goodbye to the few remaining people, my brother took me and we walked home. The night wind whispers of an unknown silence. The streetlights at night attract moths that flutter without hesitation. My vision is blurry, and my mind is in a haze. I suddenly thought about the previous life. I was also carried by my older brother like that. That was the days after my older brother found out I had lied to him. My older brother almost ran away from me, and I naturally thought he hated me. At that time, I also hated myself, and the club senior I met in college took me to a bar. And I almost instantly got the charm of how alcohol numbs the nerves. Those few nights, I was drowning in alcohol every day, living in a drunken stupor. Drinking too much allows me to forget many things, to forget the pain of being looked at with my brother's cold eyes, and to forget the unbearable ache in my heart. That day, I was still in a bar where the noise could shake the eardrums, downing drink after drink, and then someone took the opportunity to wrap their arms around my waist. In an instant, I realized this was not my brother. The sensation of him holding me is different from that of others. I pushed the person away, tried to struggle, and shouted, but the loud sound of the bar completely drowned out my voice. Just when my mind was in a haze and I had no idea what to do, someone punched the person who was holding me to the ground. When my thoughts came back together, I was being carried on someone's back. The street was quiet, and my ears were still blocked from being in a high-decibel environment for a long time. The shadows of the trees are flickering. I realized that this time, the person who bumped into me was my brother. That was the first intimate contact between the two of us in 3 months. I had drunk too much, and my mind was a blur. Suddenly, I tightened my arms around his neck and asked him, "Bro, do you love me?" He didn't answer me then, and I can't remember even in my past life, but in this life. I remember now, the wind is rustling, and he still answered me. That light sigh, clear and resounding, still left the vast night. I suddenly laughed while lying on my brother's back, and he asked me why. I hugged his neck tightly and asked him, "Brother, do you know why I won't let go of you?" He asked why. I said, "Bro, if you do anything bad to me, if you really hurt me, I will definitely not be able to take it and leave one day, but I know, you love me." Side story, winter, noise. And her body. On New Year's Eve, it seemed to snow more than in recent years. Shu Haiping was organizing the documents on his desk. He found a crucial piece of evidence before the trial, which made him and Reed Duan work overtime non-stop before New Year's Eve. Reed Duan, he had been working with this man for a year. Although the other party had been demoted several levels due to the previous incident with his sister, his methods and ways of handling problems remained brilliant and excellent. This person was even so self-disciplined that he thought that mingling with his sister was the only flaw bestowed upon him by God. If I were you, I would have abandoned that sister long ago. He looked at the man who was methodically organizing the materials and silently muttered to himself that the clock had already pointed to 10:45 in the evening. The man who was supposed to stay up late tonight to complete the task suddenly stood up at that moment. "I'm taking the work home. I'm leaving first." He raised his hand to check the time, then spoke to Shu Haiping. Shu Haiping blinked. If a workaholic like Reed Duan wanted to relax, he would certainly agree, but it was the first time he had seen someone take unfinished work home. "Is there something urgent?" He leaned against the back of the chair, rubbed his neck, and casually asked, "Spending New Year's Eve with family." Family. After that incident was exposed, everyone knew about Reed Duan's family, except for the sister who was still entangled with him. Moreover, Reed Duan didn't even shy away from this in front of them, and instead looked quite calm about it. "I told her I had to work overtime, but it seems she's a bit upset with me." The man rubbed his brow, his tone slightly helpless. "Are you very worried?" No way. An adult, not a child. Do you really need this elite in the legal field, a workaholic who values work more than life, to rush home to accompany you? What are you and your sister going to do? Gossip can always stir up people's hidden curiosity. He also casually asked out of a chaotic mind, only to realize after speaking that it was somewhat inappropriate. Cut off all ties. The person across from me responded quite quickly. He thought, "Wow, buddy, your decision is really right." Then I heard Reed Duan continue speaking. "Then we get married. Alright, it's late stage now. This one is cured, but still drools. If she wants to get married, she can. If not, I'll stay with her for a lifetime. If she meets someone else she likes, I'll step aside. That's fine too." He watched helplessly as this senior figure in the legal world spoke nonsense. He left. The man shook the umbrella and calmly bid him farewell. He sat in his seat watching the man leave. The snow outside was still heavy. He stretched and buried himself in his work. That was the last time he saw Reed Duan in 2019. They met again in 2020. A few days into the new year, he attended his sister's funeral. No one could have expected this to happen. The girl was in a bad mood and went to a bar to get drunk. When the brother went to look for her, he only found her body almost buried in the snow behind the bar. Those few criminals were found, with a history of drug use. The arrest was very easy. And the case happened by chance. It is precisely because it was easy and happened by chance that it was even more unbearable. He delivered the bouquet of flowers before the black and white photo, in which the girl had a smile at the corners of her lips. Her brother had chosen the one where she looked the happiest. My condolences. He walked up to the man who was looking down at the crowd coming and going in the mourning hall. He had personally handled all the details of his sister's funeral. Dressed in a black suit, managing everything with utmost propriety, guiding the guests, and conversing with the older generation, looking down with indifference at his sister's close friend 1111, who was crying loudly at the funeral. Not even the eyelashes trembled. It seemed that everything happening here had nothing to do with him. The heavy snow fell in flurries, and it was not his sister, whom he had raised for decades, who died, but an inconsequential person, in the following days. Reed Doohan appealed the case of his sister's murder and took those people to court, and he served as the defense attorney himself. Reed Doohan seems to have become that workaholic again, and even more so than before, hardly taking any breaks and just working overtime. In fact, this state is very wrong. It seems that he only feels at ease when he fills himself up and stops thinking about other things. A few days before New Year's Eve, the office received a package. A square little box, but the sender is anything but ordinary. It is Jade Doohan, his deceased sister. After asking, I learned that it was sent by Jade Doohan before his death, and it just arrived now. Inside is a teddy bear. If you press its belly, it can make a sound. Ahem, brother. The recording conditions were not good, mixed with noisy sounds, yet at a certain moment, it felt like a communication from the dead. This little bear is your New Year's gift. I originally planned to record a song for you, but since you didn't spend New Year's with me, it turned into a recording to scold you, Tilda. However, I do know, brother, you are busy with work, and I can understand that. It's also very simple for me to forgive you. When I received this little bear, come and comfort me. Do you know, you must comfort me. Also, on the next New Year's Eve, you must accompany me through it, perhaps due to limited recording time. It only recorded up to here. Pressing it again will repeat this segment. That afternoon, Reed Doohan, who was fully immersed in the case, unusually did nothing and just sat in the chair, pressing the little bear's belly. He didn't speak or cry, just stared blankly. From the sunset to the night that swept in deeper than ever. After the new year, the second trial was conducted, and this case was handled relatively smoothly. In the final scene, Xu Haiping sat below watching Reed Doohan expressionlessly argue the case. His argument was concise and the rebuttal was on point. It seems this is one of the countless cases he handled, and in the moment the gavel fell, it was determined that all three of them would be sentenced to death. Crying. After organizing the materials, Xu Haiping looked at Reed Doohan, who was loosening his tie and walking outside, with a hint of worry, and inadvertently asked that question. Are you coming to work tomorrow? When Reed Doohan heard this question, he was also taken aback. The setting sun stretched infinitely long behind the two of them. He looked at the man with hollow eyes, and a wordless fear surged within him. He opened his mouth but still said nothing. He watched the man turn around, wave at him, and with his hands in his pockets, set off on the way home. The night of the Lunar New Year's Eve was Xu Haiping's last time receiving news about Reed Doohan. Family happiness. Amidst the sound of firecrackers, the man took the maximum dose of sleeping pills. He didn't disturb anyone, and the message was automatically sent to the nearest funeral home the next day, reminding them to collect his body. He left the house key by the door and lay in a bathtub filled with ice. Holding a teddy bear, it has fallen into a deep sleep forever and ever. Others say, Reed Doohan. Perhaps he doesn't care so much about his sister. He never cried. From the death of his sister to finishing the lawsuits against those scumbags, Reed Doohan didn't shed a single tear. Actually, it wasn't like that. That night, Xu Haiping forgot that he hadn't brought his things and turned back. He heard rustling sounds at the door, and his hand paused just as he was about to push the door open. A man who is always so calm and indifferent, squatting under the table, holding the little bear that his sister gave him, crying hysterically.